Cool. Okay, we should be live. So I'm just going to double check audio on my end. And if everything's good, we'll get going. All right, sounds good for me. I'm going to mute audio over here. Is that going to work? Close that guy. Okay, cool. All right, so if I just get chat up so we can see chat. Very good. All right, so my name is Joe, game developer, specialise in tech art and visual effects stuff, and that's what we're going to be doing today. So we're going to do live streams where we break down visual effects. I think this is cool. I was checking out Ni No Kuni 2 again the other day, and I just really like these kind of like anime style effects. This is the blocking effect. I can't find a decent video of it as reference, but I feel something not great on my phone, but this will be enough. So we're going to start by just having a little bit of a jotting down of ideas of what this guy is. I can go into more detail if people are interested, and you want to ask questions, then do so. I've got a drawing tablet, not screeny one, just like a tablet. It's a Wacom, but it's a little one, and just a pen. I'm going to be using the latest version of Unity since we just got the latest version up and running. I'm going to stick that full screen so I can use it. I'm just going to stick some folders in my project. So all I've done is, let's get rid of that. All I've done is open a blank version of Unity with the 3D universal render pipeline template situation, which is now called something different. Let's have a look at the hub. It is called, I don't know, standard render pipeline. We'll go with that, which is the universal render pipeline. So that's the thing, and the version I am using is Unity 6.3 long-term support. So if you want to follow along, that's what I'm doing. I am going to just stick some of this stuff in settings folder because I don't need it right now, and I'm going to paste in my folders. It's not touching me. Oh, great. That's good. Good start. So I've just got a folder. So every time I start a new project in Unity, I need the same folders for basically every project, right? So for starters, you get whichever ones are there, right? Scenes, settings, tutorial info. If you just create a folder on your desktop that has a bunch of empty folders in it that are named the thing that you want them to be, you can just grab them and drag and drop them into your project, and then you have all your folders, right? You don't have to manually create all your folders every single time you make a new project. So that's what we've done here. Scenes wise, we are in the sample scene. So let's call this VFX. What is this? We're doing like a blocking effect, right? So organization, cool. All right, so save our scene. What else are we going to need? We're going to need a couple of things. So like housekeeping. We are going to need a plane. Call this ground plane. Oh no. Let it load. Cool. Ground plane. Cool. Save that. We're going to want it to be big, so let's make it wide. Nice. What else do we want to do? So there's a bunch of stuff. There's a bunch of stuff to do up front. Let's do some of that now. So we're only going to have to do this once per project, but we're going to want different materials. We're going to want that to be a ground plane. if you want to follow along, I am right clicking and going create material. Okay, and this basic material, you just drag it either onto the object in the hierarchy or in the scene view. That's my scene view, that's my game view. And we are gonna make that whatever we want it to be. I mean, you can just make it green if you want grass in your scene. I want something specific, right? I want a texture. So ideally when you're doing anything grey boxy, white boxy, visual effectsy, anything that's like a standalone component, especially if it's going to be a portfolio piece or anything you're going to show to another developer, scale is very important. Scale has a lot to do with it. So we are going to import a new asset. We're going to try and find, and if we haven't got one, we're going to make grid, basic grid. I don't know which one of these I like best. So we're going to take both and import them. So all I've got here is, have a look at my material. Don't care, don't care, don't care. And I'm just basically going to apply, let's make it white for a second. Basically just going to apply my grid pattern to it. And all I've done is just an X on a chunk of square. All right, so it's important that it's square. That's a thing. And it's just a black X. I don't know. Let's have a look. We're going to stick it into the base map here of our surface inputs. And we'll have a look at it. Right, okay, so if we just zoom out a little bit, we've made our grind plane 100 by 100. And ideally what we want is for our, you can see it's got edges as well, right? So I've just basically duplicated a square in Affinity, sub, Photoshop, whatever, and just done 4, and then I've got a grid that I can work with. Now I want it to match Unity. I want it to match this cube. All right, oops. Scale cube. All right, nothing important. Just make sure you name everything in your hierarchy, and then you just know what everything is. Hovering over scene view, press F to zoom in on your highlighted object. So I can see here that this scale of 1 is, for some reason, 2 squares in every direction. I want my grid to match that. So when I do a visual effect, I can say, hey, it's this size, and everyone can see it's 1 unit per square, and it's fine. That means that a person is going to be like 1.5 squares high or something. Let's say it's a meter square. That works for me, right? So let's grab our ground plane and just increase the tiling to 100 for now on our grind material. Okay, so 100 gets us squares that are just still way too big. All right, I think 1,000 will be potentially right. I definitely did this correctly on purpose at some point, so it should work for me. Okay, yeah, so I've got it set up so that now it's that. I think maybe if this is 1, I'm going to want it to be like 500, I don't know. That look right? Okay, so if you can get a grid set up so that it shows the scale of 1 square. Right, I'm just going to reset the transform. So if you want your object's transform position to be reset, you can reset just the position. If everything else is the same, if things have changed, you can reset the whole thing. I'm now in the ground, which is not what I want, so I want to raise this guy up to sit on the ground. It's going to be 0.5 on Y. That's fine. That's good. Okay, cool. So, good start. We're going to be missing some other stuff as well. So, things we are missing. Window. Package manager. Just hiding it layers deep. Right, I'm looking for all of the 2D stuff. Right, so we're going to do visual effects stuff. 2D stuff. That's what we're going to need, right? We're going to need sprite things. This includes 2D animation, pixel stuff, sprite editor, blah, 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 blah. It'll all be in there. Okay, install that. World building, what's that? What's that going to have? Okay, let it do its thing for a second. So yeah, like I said, boring housekeeping. But you could create a project that is this, and then just duplicate and rename it, right? Everything's set up. Or you just do it once and no big deal, right? FBX exporter, that's cool. All right, maybe we'll do that at some point. Okay, cool. So that's all of our stuff. We got a directional light in the scene. That's all fine. We don't have a folder for skyboxes for some reason. So I'm going to create a new folder called skyboxes. And we are going to create a material. Right click, create material. We're going to call this just skybox 1. There we go, that's definitely a good descriptive name. Okay, so we're going to go up to the shader type here on our skybox. I'm just going to scroll down to skyboxes and go, let's go procedural, why not? Okay, so we just drag this onto the sky, nothing will happen, but if we change the color, we start to see some stuff happening. So we're going to change the sky tint to whatever we want for now and just make the ground tint black and change the exposure a little. Increase the atmospheric thickness because I kind of like doing that. It's kind of fun. And then our color is going to be wrong. It's going to be shifted. I'm just going to do that. Okay, so we've got like a real dark background there. With our floor material, we're just going to okay. I'm just going to darken it slightly, right? So even though I've got that texture applied to the floor to give me a sense of scale, I want to still control a couple of variables, right? So I'm just making it a little darker, just so that our effects pop off it a little nicer. And then you can see that we've got quite a lot of reflectivity, so our smoothness. If we bring that down, cool. A little bit, it's not going to hurt, just something to give us some kind of sense of what's going on. And then we're good, I think. All right, cool. So the only other thing to do potentially would be to duplicate this ground plane and then flip it 90 degrees on the X. So if you're working in a scene, you want the visual effects to have a bit of a kind of depth, sense of scale with the depth. This could be kind of useful, right? And if we drop it down, we could potentially still see our skybox, since we made such a lovely skybox. Oh, it's so big. It's enormous, right? What do we want? Minus 800. Nope. 500. Yeah, okay. So yeah, just something to be like, hey, this is how big it is, this is how much depth there is in the scene. So when we see an effect pop off, we can kind of tell what's going on with it, right? It's kind of like a little backdrop situation. Okay, cool. So housekeeping done, save that. So we're going to need to have a little look at this guy, right? When you block in Ni No Kuni 2, this happens, right? This is the kind of end of the effect, but it's starting with a similar sort of thing, smaller, and it is at least one big circle that's just on its own, that's expanding. We then have concentric circles, same color, right? So if I was going to do the same layer for a frame, this would all be the same color. We've got little flecks of flashes, we've got double concentric circle in the middle, we've got these little kind of sharp jaggedy bits, like I can point at the screen, you can see this sharp jaggedy bits here, right, which is cool. And then we've got these little sparks coming off over here, little flashes. So that's going to be growing from the center and then fading out most likely. The other thing we have are these orange, like long jaggedy spikes shooting out longer, maybe faster. And then the concentric circle there as well, which is a little bit more disrupty. Could even be a kind of moving shader situation that we got going on. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Let's have a little look. So let's just start by writing down. So I'm going to be doing this, probably just going to do this in Sprite because it is a good place to do animation. We're going to draw it by hand. Whole situation, right? So, but first of all, what we're going to do is we are going to block it out inside of Affinity Designer, which don't even get me started on Affinity right now. Okay, so I'm just going to create a layer and I'm just going to make it just not blinding white, just for everybody's eyes. And I'm going to lock that puppy and I'm going to add a pixel layer and switch over to pixel mode. Let me just get that guy. Okay, that's always just such a pain in the ass. Alright, that's fine. Whatever. Okay, so we're in pixel mode. So in Affinity, if you don't know, you get two different modes. Pixel and vector. Vector is really useful if you want to draw stuff that is specifically going to be vector art, and raster is the pixel mode, all in one program, which is great. But they just sold themselves to Canva. It's a whole situation. Okay, so I'm just going to stick myself in pixel mode and grab a brush and make it black and make it small so I can write some words. It's always a whole situation. Some kind of cat problem out the window. Yeah, okay, cool. Alright, let's just see if we can get just a normal brush, huh? Yay! Okay, and we will increase the stroke size so that it is more legible for people on the stream. Alright, it's going to be what it is apparently. Fine. Okay, cool. So we have a couple of things, right? So that we've got a block. Good writing. VFX. We've got sparks. We've got and that is in two colors, right? Blue and orange. Good writing. Orange. We've got circles. Circles. Good writing as well. Also blue and orange. And we have one big with +2. That's good, isn't it? Use numbers and words mixed together. That's great. And too small for the, which one is this? Ooh, hello. Yeah, for the blue. That's the blue. This is good. This is neat. And then we've got the orange. Got one, and it is broken up, which we could do potentially with a shader, potentially with just drawing it broken up. I think that's what we're going to do today. So loads of different ways to do visual effects. We're going to be using a particle system to emit this. We're going to have to put it into a sprite sheet or atlas. Will be a thing. We'll see how we decide to go about it. It would be great to be able to just use the shape carving method inside Affinity to do this, but I don't know about that because animation wise, just everything's so much easier. The other thing that I'm seeing, we've got some glow here that we can handle using glow bloom inside Unity, but we also have a gradient of opacity going from a little bit higher to fading out to nothing, and also around this guy. I mean, we could just do that with glow, but I think it does look like there's something else going on there, and that's kind of giving it a little bit more body to the effect. So I think we should include that. Why not? So glow / gradient. Oh, good writing. Excellent. Okay, cool. So that's the basics of what we got, right? So that's good. Lock that and hide it for now. Let's go back and chuck in a vector layer, right? So over here, we'll chuck in a vector layer, and we will just block this out real quick, right? So if I get this guy, get myself a circle. So we have, oh, thanks. Let go too soon. Hello. Right, got this guy. This is going to be the blue, right? So let's make it blue. Let's increase the stroke. Let's change the fill to gradient, right? Would be an idea. Let's just see which one's which. Okay, we need a radial. Hello? Conical? No. Radial. Where is our gradient tool? Let me just grab gradient tool real quick since it's a lot easier to do. We want this guy to be just better. Okay, let's just go here. Okay, cool. So, yeah, radial, that's fine. We want the outside to be blue. Cool, and we want the inside to be invisible. So let's just reduce the opacity, because I think, yeah, white and opacity, right? And then if we grab the middle of this guy, we can control how far in it actually goes, which is kind of cute. Yep, this guy's good. We just go with this guy. That's going to look a little nicer. Okay, cool. And then really the whole of that layer is not going to be like a solid guy. Yeah, something along those lines is going to be basically fine. And we'll stick that under that. What else do we want? We also want, so this is our outer blue ring. Cool. And then we'll go inner blue rings, plural, which is going to be basically the same thing as this. Let's copy that guy and paste it inside here. And just grab both of those guys and scale them down. Right. And then this guy is going to be smaller again. Okay. And both of these dudes are going to not have a gradient fill. Let's just go color and just nothing. Okay, cool. So let's get rid of those. So this is, I don't know if I'll be doing this every single time. That's a pretty good idea. So just double check with our reference again. So outside edge, inside edge, right? And these guys are quite thin. Grab this guy. We'll just increase that a little bit, and then just have a little look at this guy. The fill. Yeah. Okay. Okay. All right, not so bad. And then let's just make the actual line, the stroke thickness, a little smaller on these because we don't want it to be that big. A little bit chunky for what we're trying to achieve here. Okay, cool. So that is our blue ones just blocked out. Let's grab another. Oops. It's going to be our orange. If it'll let me. Thank you. Orange. Ring. Cool. And this is, again, same deal. Let's copy the other because I think that one is a better fit for what we want. So this might be overkill, right? We kind of done a little bit of it, like drawing what we want. Brushes. Let's go for something like one of these guys or something that's kind of broken up already. Give us a little bit of something, something. Nope. So yeah, we don't want a fill for that. Fill. Why is this being weird? Okay. Why is this always such an ass? Yeah. Orange and then we will get there in the end. I feel like they just change stuff on me all the time. Okay, and we'll go for like an orange, right? Super orange looking thing. Above, let's have a little look. Yeah, the orange one's that way. So make that guy a little bigger. Okay, very nice. And then we have, oh yeah, I'll save this, right? So we can just, for now, use a pen tool, right? This guy, okay, so we've got these long buddies coming off it. Very nice. Okay, just going to use the pen tool. And I liked what we had. These guys. And I'm just going to increase that. Just make, oh, well. Thank you. That way. Something like this would probably do us. Yeah, I think that's going to be kind of cool. Alright, nice. Yeah, so we got these guys, and they are from center, going out, so we've got kind of one there, and we can paste one over this way, turn it around a little, this guy going over this guy, that's pretty cool, make him a little longer, let's do this guy over there. Cool. Alright, so this is roughly what we're going for. Right? We've got these kind of sparks coming in. Getting some idea of how this effect's going to look. And we're just blocking it out and seeing what's what. Now, on the other side, we do have some stuff going on with kind of like a double. Something like this. Kind of like this sort of thing, right? Maybe a little longer. And maybe a couple of short guys too. Alright, so this guy. Right, something like this. So that's kind of cool. What else we got going on? So, and then we have some little sparks which I think are blue. Alright. So I'm just going to say, yeah, sure, you're blue. Let's just get you here on how our layers are looking. This is orange. Let's go orange sparks. Why not? Because they kind of are spark trail, right? And then layer. I'm gonna grab you. Let's make these blue sparks. And these are way smaller, right? These are tiny little buddies with a smaller stroke. Something like that. Okay, cool. We're gonna have a bunch of those around everywhere, every which way. Like so. Cool. Alright. And that will do us. Alright, so that is, you know, long-winded. But that's it, right, roughly. We figured out the main components of the effect. We have figured out the colors. We figured out we've got a gradient thing going on. Now, if that gets bonked, there's a couple of things missing, right? So I'm thinking about this, right? There's some extra details. So we've got on the blue, we've got these little squiggles, which I'm going to say are part of the rings. Okay, so I'm going to copy that and chuck it onto blue sparks, blue sparks, blue sparks. Okay, good. Well, that's good, isn't it? Let's just have a little look at this. That guy. Just always good when your hierarchy just tends to crap on you. Let's just stick those all in there. They are all blue sparks. They are all orange sparks. And then in here, we have these guys. I'm just going to make this a bigger guy. I feel like that's about right. And then it's kind of this, right? And like I said, this is just has nothing to do with my final effect, right? It's just blocking it out and figuring out what's going on with it. What are the components, right? We're getting there. All right, so we've got these blue sparks, we've got the orange sparks. The orange sparks have a lot of like pairs to them, right? Some of these over here on the right, there's like double, here's a double. This guy's got two on side, this guy's a double too. The inner fiery circle is really disappearing in points. And then these are the blue bits that I was just doing, right? But that's kind of it, right? So that's a kind of starting point. And this effect is going to grow. And I think we're probably going to go with a kind of orange spark initially, followed by the blue, right? Like maybe would be cool. I think thinking about the effect coming in at us, if we're blocking all of a sudden, there's a sword clash is what's happening, right? We're using our sword to block. So that sword is going to catch the enemy sword. There's going to be an orange spark. And then our block's going to kick in. Blue, shield effect, swing. And I think if we have the orange be fast, shrink, and then the blue come in a little slower, that could be cool. So we've got loads of license here, right? We're just having a play around. Blocking it out here like this just gives me a reference that I can go to and go, okay, what am I working on, right? I'm working on, I just want to see just the sparks, right? I just want to know what the spark bit's doing. Okay, I need something like this, right? So when I then start to animate it, I can come back and go, okay, I've got this many sparks going on, something like this. I'm going to start small, I'm going to get bigger. The next thing that I need to do, these are all great, that's all fine, whatever, right? Good, save that. Just unlock that so that I can have a little draw. And up over here, cool. So there's two things I'm thinking, right? So I've got the blue circle, right? The blue circle there. Allow me to do stuff, damn you. It's just always such a pain in the ass. Yeah, good. Brushes, round brush. Yeah, no, don't want to let me draw. How is life like this? Yeah. That is the layer I want. That is what I'm after. Why? Why? Why are you like this? Fine. My life, ladies and gentlemen. Everything is correct and it does not want to draw. Okay, fine. My point is, I need to remember that to add the glowiness to make sure that everything is going to be correct. There's a couple of different ways I could do the glowiness. I could control it better if I made everything white and then colored it inside of Unity, but if it's going to be a sprite sheet situation, I don't know what we're doing that. So let's just start by what I wanted to do was draw out in pixel mode, won't let me, a timeline for the effect, right? Because I think that would be really useful to see. And who knows if it will let me just draw even a single thing. I'll get rid of that. Cool. Alright. Color, black, draw. Ugh, my life. So, the blue guy, what was I going to say about the blue guy? Don't know. Anyway, so let's say that we're starting over here, right? This could be frame 1, this could be frame 30. Let's say that we make a 30 frame animation. Let's say that's what we do. Let's go with that. So at the start of the animation, we have this tiny little nothinginess, and at the end we have rings. Oh, that's good, isn't it? Ring, outside ring, effects jumping off, all different stuff. We got loads of little dashes and things, right? How are we going to divide up this animation, right? We want immediate impact, right? So at least the orangey bit. So let's say orange, sparks. We're going to want that to appear fast, right? We're going to want something in here immediately. And then we want it to get bigger, and for these guys to be coming out, right? The blue, do it on a separate layer. We kind of want to appear a little more, and then we can start to get bigger, right? And get double rings. And then, yeah, kind of slowly from there get bigger and bigger and bigger until we're the full scale. Whereas we kind of want this guy to go big right quick, okay, full size, shrink, and then maybe fade from there and allow the blue to take over, and then this guy can fade from maybe here, right? Something like that. Give ourselves a little bit of wiggle room. So we have our initial orange spark, explosion, and then our blue spark, right? So we're going to divide it up and say, okay, at frame, like let's say this is frame 15, this is frame 1. We want orange to peak here, right? And we want blue to peak at frame, let's say frame 25 or something like that. Right, peak there. And that gives me some idea of what I'm going to do with my timeline, get my things in, right? So let's just do the same thing over here, right? We've got a layer. Let's make that our background layer. Hello. And let's fill it in with the same deal, just a grey. And then let's lock it. Okay, and let's add a new layer, right? This is a sprite that I'm using, by the way. A sprite. All right, and let's call this let's do orange first, since that's what we're doing. And we'll call it the orange ring, because there's only one ring. Yeah, okay, cool. So we've got a plan jotted out, and we've got an idea of what we want here, right? So for this guy, we are gonna want to do a circle with a decent size. I mean, it's really, we are, by the way, on a really big canvas. Like for A Sprite, this is big, right? So I'm just gonna make this, here's an idea. I'm just gonna make this orange, slightly orange, so that when we hop over to Unity, I mean, I guess I can just make it as orange as I want, because we're going to control it with an emissive shader anyway. So it's going to override whatever color property we use. Yeah, pretty much. So there you are. There's a big guy. So I don't know if I can. No, he does lag. Don't know if I can. Thank you. Do a circle from the middle. I need to scale it from the middle. There we go. That's Control and Shift. Okay, so Shift and Control together on Mac gives me a circle that scales from the middle. I don't think that using mirror tools is going to be particularly helpful for me here, but we'll see. It doesn't have to be perfect, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to create a circle. And we're just going to test a couple of bits, right? So if I just get my rubber and just cut some bits out of this guy, that's kind of cool. That could be a cool way of kind of animating this dissolving away over time, right? And if I copy and paste each frame over, or even just manually draw each frame and then erase bits of it to kind of have it look sort of like it's moving away in a nice way. I mean, I could make this particle spin, potentially. I think what we'll probably end up doing is spawning two different particle systems, two different sprite sheets, and maybe just build the whole effect together and then export them separately and then combine them in the end. And that way I can apply a different material to each particle system, each sprite sheet, and get different glowy effects and stuff like that. I think that's going to be the best bet. Hopefully that'll make sense as we go along, right? So let's just kill this guy and start again. We're going to want to, yeah, start from scratch, right? So frame 1 is going to be here. We do not want this to be as big as it is. I think half the size is fine. So that's the rubber. Let's just find where the middle is. Might be good to actually have that be accurate or whatever. Let's just do a dot. Okay, cool. That's our dot. That's frame 1. And then let's just remind ourselves of new frame. New frame is options and N. Okay, cool. So options N. And that's cool. I feel like I feel like the onion skinning is orange. So let's try this. Okay. So we can go back and forward between our frames. And then we want the options N for a new frame, right? Where is our onion skinning options? So for those that don't know, onion skin settings. Let's go red, blue, tint. So onion skinning is a technique in animation that allows you to see the previous frame and the next frame in different colors. Let's increase the opacity. And Let's see. Will it just let us work? It's very cool when it works. So first name, okay, increase the opacity, loop through, current layer only. There, front is right. Okay. And okay, yeah, and then we want current layer only. So we don't want to show all the background ones. And then we don't want it to be really high opacity because we got stuff over the top. Over the top of us. Right, okay, so here we go. So this is our first frame. Is unfortunately it's like red and blue, so orange is kind of that, right? So that's going to trip us up a little bit, but we've got our little orange dot in the middle. Next frame, it's showing us the next frame will be that blue dot, right? And then the next frame on top of that is this guy. So we're not growing here to here. So we need to make this guy a little bigger, right? So let's just try that. Okay, so far we have this, enter to play, and we're good. Okay, so there we go, stepping through, it's going to get bigger, very nice. Add a new frame, and we want this guy to just, yeah, be hollow. Why are you so big, buddy? Let's go with 39. Yeah. Okay, and what we'll do is we'll come back through, we'll just get this to grow in a way that we like. So at the moment we've got 4 frames, and yeah, we're growing, right? We said in our plan that we wanted to be done growing by frame 15, right? Which means we need to really step it up a little bit, right? So this initial burst, cool and all, but we really need to get going, right? So is that, there's nothing on that frame. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's the problem with orange. Bad choice of first thing to do. Okay, so let's step it up, right? Let's do it. This will be a little easier now that we're not here. Did we do a new one? That's the only issue with like trying to animate and stream. Very confusing, right? For sure, like super difficult to keep track of what you're doing. Okay. So next, what's this guy? Okay. This guy. Totally losing track. All right. Okay. Frame. So I might adjust as I go here and say I'm easing off for sure on the speed here, right? Something like this. Aim out to me. And then we can just say we're going to start coming back in as it eats away. Alright, so we'll eat this away and have it reduce in size. We'll do both. So let's say we only want 12 frames of that. Maybe we'll go the full 15, let's see. So right now, I'm getting a bunch of stuff. So in front of sprite, behind sprite, loop through, tag frames, color. What am I missing here? Something not right with this. Okay. So as we step through, why is this just giving me everything from every frame? That's so not what I want. I'm like duplicating the previous frame somehow. That's fun. Why is it doing that to me? It's not what I wanted at all. Okay, let's see if we can fix it and save ourselves having to undo everything. Like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect, everything, but it would be nice if it wasn't just broken. So let's try. Nope. Really? I can stretch a circle from the center, right, if I want to draw a circle. But if I try to draw a selection circle, it will not let me. And if I use a rubber, maybe. Let's try it. So, what is happening here? Not what I wanted. Definitely not want that. It'd be nice if we could have a smooth run. Whoops. Okay, so the middle is gone away. That's good. That is the same guy. Really? That's what we want. Is that it? Grab you. Alright. So, let's have a look. Growing, growing, growing. Getting bigger. Bigger. I could potentially lose that frame. We'll see. Get close to you. Gonna be losing part of that anyway. Yeah, this is not ideal. Let's see. Alright, so we've screwed up big time. Starting situation. So I've been using Affinity, it's supposed to be my friend, to do stuff manually for a bit. That's pretty cool. But I think that a sprite is way better set up for this frame by frame animation stuff. So I figured, hey, switch over, onion skinning, cool. And yeah, it's fine, but obviously it's designed for pixel art. If you don't know a sprite. Big jumps. And therefore it is not the neatest for doing stuff like this. Let's queue. Okay, so let me just see how we're getting on. It's going to be a little trickier. I think this guy is just completely gone away. Oops. Let's see. Yep. And if we run out of time today, so we can do an hour, we will return to this effect in the next stream, and we'll carry on where we left off. Zoop. Okay, it's going up that way, and then back. So this guy, gone. Ooh, hello. Yeah, that was the thing I was going to say. The pixel brush, the brush size in Sprite only goes up to 64 pixels, right? So no matter what you're trying to do, you're trying to erase a load of stuff. I could grab this with the selection tool, that would probably be a much better idea. Maybe I'll do that, since it's got a magic wand and all. Okay, cool. I want that guy dead, and that guy dead, and that guy dead. Okay, cool. Those last few there, just all the same thing. I feel like that frame can go. Delete frame. Yeah. Okay, so we have a looping explosion, right? Swing. It's gonna zoom out on us, right? I think just having this separate is the best bet, right? So then all we need to do is we just need to find our, hello, my pencil is wrong way around, it's always good. So we're just going to grab our eraser, bring it down a notch, and we're just going to dip through, right? I think we could bite a little, have a little chunk out of this guy. Right, maybe this guy comes in like this. Oops. Maybe this guy comes in like this. And maybe we have a little something going on. Just give it a little edgy. So we had a kind of broken up kind of pattern before, didn't we? So we're going to take some big swipes, like so. I think our reference, look over our reference, we can see it's got this kind of jaggediness to it. We can do that by taking big sweeps out of it. And then we're going to come back and add some finer detail real soon. Okay. All of these guys. I'm not worrying too much about where these are for now. Maybe if we want to refine it, we might make this a little neater. Could be a thing. Cool. And then as we come back in, same deal. And I'm just erasing, not totally at random here. I want to get a little form to some of these. Maybe come in like this. But I kind of like the idea that this thing is just really boiling. falling off, and as we come back in, this guy's dissolving, right? So we're going to really start to lose it. And then we're back to the beginning, right? So now we've got something that's got a little bit more something to it. Something kind of nice. What we're going to do is we're going to add a new layer. New layer. I'm going to call this orange sparks. And we know coming into this, right, that we are going to have, let's just get that guy up again. Reference. We're going to have these long guys coming, and that now for these I want to be a little bit more deliberate about my directions. I may even use a line tool, you know. I might even go with that because we're going to mess with them anyway, right? So let's say, yeah, that's kind of cool. All right, so one, okay. We're going to have maybe a dot or two. Two. Okay. Blue tint, velocity up. Cool. All right. So needs to be really moving. All right, I'm just going to block in these main guys. We can add a little something. And then I kind of like the idea of them catching in the air and just kind of dying. All right. Like this. Okay, so we're going out. Let's get my preview view zoomed out as well. So we're going to go like this. It's cool. I like that. So then let's get ourselves a couple of friends. And I'm just going to do these guys individually. I think just having these guys die where they stand is kind of fun. So now we're looking at the preview down in the bottom, just cycling through. This guy's lighter, he's going to go faster. So these lighter sparks are going to be coming this way. Cool. Okay. That guy. Nice. Doop. Okay, here. Yeah. And I kind of like this idea. I picked this up off of an animator, like a TV animator on YouTube. Really good stuff. I should find her thing. just the idea of kind of blocking out the main idea of the effect, and then going through, once you've got an idea of how things are expanding and moving, you've got your movement how you want it, adding in then these extra bits one at a time, just going through every frame of the animation and going, okay, I've got a spark here and it's coming over here, and that's what I'm going to do, and I follow it to its conclusion. And then I'm going to go back to the beginning, and I'm going to do my next guy, right? This goes over here, here. I kind of like the idea of some of these have got a little bit of a kind of hitting some resistance as they go. Alright, this is kind of cool. And then I want a bit of a longer guy here. And then I'm going to go here. Over here. Cool. Alright, so we've got a little variance there, and we're going to be adding loads of blue, remember, as well, right? So kind of like that idea. It's looking pretty sweet. So the next part would be our blue ring. Okay, so we're going to add, hello, oh, don't crash and die. Don't crash and die now. Oh, I haven't even saved it. Always save your work, everybody. Blocking VFX. Okay, yeah, save your work. Cool. All right, let's go layer, new layer, and go blue rings, plural. It's got lots of rings, right? And this one's going to be a little funky, I think, because we've got our main little effect ring going on there, which is kind of fun. And what could be fun to do for this would be maybe to let's export it. So turn off the background, go to File, Export Sprite Sheet, output file, blocking PNG, a sprite exports, yes, and export visible layers, yeah, export, right, okay. So let's do that. Let's jump over to Unity, let's go over to our sprites, let's make a folder specifically for sprite sheets, since they are a different kettle of fish. Sprite, let's call it all one word, why not, never know with that one. And let's import that, right, so right click, import new asset, find your export folder, make sure you know where you're exporting to, that's always fun. It's called blocking, so it will be with the bees, and maybe because it's a sprite sheet it's going to be somewhere else. No, I mean no. I'm pretty sure it should be here. I'm moving blind. Always make sure you know where you've saved a thing. There's another thing for you. Export sprite sheet. Right, row, output, choose path. Yeah. Spoof blocking. Okay. Exports. Yeah. Accidentally stuck my project in there. It's not good. Infinity exports. Right. Maybe it just hadn't done it when I pressed import. Let's see. Still no. No good. Alright, let's have a look. No. Fucking visual effect. The design is in there. Oh, affinity. I'm looking in the wrong thing. A spray export. Well done me. Fucking visual effect. Okay, cool. So we've imported our sprite sheet. We're gonna set it to type sprite 2D UI. We're going to set it to full rect. Multiple. Open up the sprite editor. It will complain. Just say yes. And then we are going to slice it. By cell size, our canvas, whatever your canvas is, put that in. Mine's 1000 by 1000. I'm going to say slice. Okay, slice is good. Apply the slice. And then we should be able to add a particle system, set it to texture sheet animation, grid whole sheet lifetime, yes, and I don't know if this will work, but try. Blocking VFX, yep. And this is our orange, hello, orange ring and sparks. All the things. No, it's not letting us do that. Okay, cool. Chuck that on there. Let's make it transparent. And allow alpha clipping. We'll make the render face both for now. We'll allow alpha clipping. And yes, I would like it to be emissive, actually. Let's go orange and give it some intensity. Right, so this is our blocking. VFX. And it is the orange bit, ring, and sparks. And we're just going to make a parent object for this as well. To hold everything, because we have loads of stuff we're going to be checking in here, right? So, blocking ring and sparks, cool. Let's reset the transform, because we want it to be going this way anyway. Reset the transform, that guy. Cool. Alright. And let us... Ooh. No. Cute. Okay, cool. And then we want to rotate around Y. That way. Let's set this guy up. So we want to change the emission to... We set it to 1 and 1 and 1 and 0. And then we set our shape. We can... I think just having it be a circle with a radius of nothing is fine. And then we're going to apply our material to it. And we'll chuck our material in the materials folder. I thought it might allow me to automatically apply the texture if I use that, like making a shader, but apparently not. Okay, cool. That's ready for me. The only other thing that we don't have is our post-processing setup. Just gonna stick that under the camera. I'm going to tell the camera that I want to use post-processing, which is, that's good. We have bloom, we have scatter, and we give it some intensity. We're good to go, right? Okay, so it's basically set up by default inside the the new version of things. It's looking pretty cool, so we give ourselves a little of that. I don't think we really need anything else for right now. I'm just going to align the camera with my view. It's pretty nice. And then, in theory, we can go to our sprite sheet animation. We just need to tell it how many tiles wide it is on the X, which is, I think, 12. And suddenly we're all good, right? And we can control our speed, right? Playback speed, simulation speed, right here. And I think if we just turn off looping, then, oh no, it doesn't like that at all. Let's just try that again. Okay. What's your problem all of a sudden? Looping. Is that? Okay. Sure why. Simulation speed and accidentally do the delay or something. No, nothing like that. Simulation speed 1. Let's just turn that off. What don't you like, game? Looping? No problem. Alright, well, we'll leave it looping for now. Ooh, rain. We can see what we got going on, right? And I just think I would like to have it be faster. And we can adjust. Yeah, this guy. No? Don't want to let me open you. Let's go speed. Restart. No. Okay. We'll go lifetime. We'll just reduce the lifetime. Okay. That'll be fine for now. Okay, so that's not looking too bad, right? And we can adjust that more in the future. And honestly, if we were feeling super duper lazy and couldn't be bothered to do the upper one, right? I'm having zero luck. Everything is dying. Let's just say this guy. Oh, I'm in the materials folder already. That makes sense. We just duplicate this material and call it blue, and change the color to blue, and increase the intensity of it. We could totally just chuck that on there and just change a couple of things, right? So like a start delay of like a couple of milliseconds, and then just have these guys fire together, right? Then suddenly we've got both effects kicking off, right? And then we could change the start size of the blue guy, and we could change the lifetime to be longer, right? And suddenly we've got something that looks kind of cool, right? We're already mixing those effects. Now I'm going to hand draw the other one, and we're going to mix them together in a better way than that. But if you were feeling lazy, there's nothing stopping you doing that. So I'm just going to undo that, since that's not what I'm doing. But yeah, that's looking pretty cool, right? Yes, I want to delete it, thank you. Cool, so that's it for today. Ran over a little bit, but basically just going to come at a new effect every week and just do our streams, breaking down what we're doing, talking about the thinking behind it. There'll be less housekeeping next time, so the project's already set up. We've had a little more luck with A-Sprite since we started messing with it. I need to go in and kind of carve away at the dots, right? So rubber, reduce the size. We're going to come in. Ooh, hello. We're going to come in on these orange sparks, right? I don't necessarily need that to be full guy. This guy, same deal. These little bits, right? And we can go in and kind of play with these, you know, make these look a little neater, a little bit more fun. And I think having this guy up is going to be pretty handy. All right, so we can kind of see roughly what we're doing as we go through, see a kind of unedited version of it. And we've also got a background, right? Save our eyes. So you can see here just a little bit of attention to these sparks, just having them be slightly off is nice. And then again, we're just going to follow one of these guys through cycles, and I'm just going to make these be behind my sprites real quick, and that means turning that guy off, obviously. So yeah, let's just zoom out on here. This is the guy we're interested in, right? So this is pretty hacky. Yeah. Okay. Got basically nothing left, but that guy is now looking pretty sweet. And I'm just going to go clockwise from there, why not? Find this guy. Right. Shred him up. Why not? There we go. And then we're going to go for this guy. Give him a little love. And then I'm going to follow his direction a little bit as well. Nice. Okay, cool. So these ones are already starting to look a little neater, a little more splashy. Kind of cool. All right. So that's what we're doing next time. So thanks very much for joining us. Going to be back whenever we can get another stream going, and we'll just keep chipping away at this guy. I'll record all the streams and then I'll chuck them into a playlist on YouTube or something, and you can look back and see the progress, right? All right, cool. Well, see you next time.